Have you ever come out of a meeting with a brilliant prospect and thought to yourself, that was absolutely fantastic, we connected so well, I can really see how I can help them, I would love to work with them, but I've no idea at all whether they actually want to buy or not. Or even worse, you've talked and talked and talked, you've pitched, you've presented, you've dazzled, you've been amazing, but you've got no idea what you're supposed to do next. Now, most people at this point think this is a problem with their sales skills. They think, I'm just no good at sales. But the truth is it's a lack of structure. It's a lack of process, not a lack of skill. Essentially, you're winging it. So this is week 4 of a 6-week series around how to help you create your perfect, natural, comfortable sales process. And today we're talking about that very juicy thing about the sales meeting. Because if you don't have a structure and an agenda and an outline to follow, then you're just winging it and anything may happen. The reason you want a structure is so that you can be you at your very best in every single one of those meetings. You can make sure you cover all the points that you want to cover, you ask the questions you want to ask, you focus in the right areas. But by having a structure instead of just blurt, then you also make sure that you're really listening and that you're really present. So, first thing to do in your sales meeting, your prospect meeting, is the thing we've all heard about, build rapport. Now, this basically means small talk. Yes, you're chatting, you're breaking the ice, you're creating that connection, and it is important to do some of that because otherwise it can feel very businessy and very transactional. But the key thing is to make sure that this is relatively short, and then that you've got a line, a single kind of line of script, a prompt that you can use every time that helps you to then move things into the business conversation. So it may well literally be, that's great, loved hearing about that. Shall we get down to the nitty gritty and talk about business? Because I really want to find out about. That's the perfect line you can use every single time. Now, what I would then recommend is that you do start with an introduction of you, because this has to happen at some point, and you don't want to be sitting there thinking about when should I do that, how should I do that, what am I supposed to say? You actually want to use this as a kind of intro, a break the ice, let's get it out of the way thing. But equally, you want this to be something like 90 seconds, and you want to focus on explaining who you are, when you set your business up, how you've got to where you are now, something like that. You don't want to go into the nitty-gritty of your products, your services, who you help, how you help, or anything like that. It's very much a background to how you've got to where you are now and what it is about this business that floats your boat. And then you want another single kind of line of script that moves you into talking all about them. So you want to say something like, anyway, that's enough about me. You haven't come here to listen to me talk all day. Let's chat about you, because I really want to hear about your business goals, where you want to take the business, what you want to do with X, Y, Z, which relates to you. So again, a simple line of script. And now you're into asking them lots of juicy questions. Now, in last week's video, we focused very much on how to ask these questions, what kind of questions to ask, how to use questions to build your credibility, to show you know what you're talking about, but to actually make it all about the customer instead of it all being about you. By asking brilliant questions, you can demonstrate your credibility because you will ask them perceptive, interesting questions that other people might not have asked. You will show that you really care about them and that you really want to understand them by asking these questions. But the perfect thing about them is it allows you to be present, it allows you to listen. So you're not thinking about what you're going to say next, you're absolutely listening to them, and then you're far more likely to hear the buying signals when they start to ask you questions about you. So you want a question phase of your meeting, and what you want is those kind of open general questions. But then you also want to have a little bank of questions that really help you to kind of hone in on the problem. So questions around things like impact and importance. So it's really simple questions like, and how important is that to you? What sort of impact is that having? So the customer will then be telling you what's most important, what's most causing them a challenge or a problem at the moment. So they're kind of telling you why they need to come and buy from you. So ask them lots of wonderful questions. Listen, reflect back to them to show that you really understand. Now, there's one other juicy little tidbit here which can really help you to win over a customer, and that is finding the right moments to do a bit of client name dropping. Not necessarily talking about clients by name, but find occasions where you can mention a client. Oh, that reminds me of my ingredients broker client in Macclesfield. They had a problem with XYZ, and here's how I helped them. So what you're doing is you're showing that you've worked with somebody very similar in the past. You recognise their problem. You've got expertise in fixing it. You know what you're talking about, but you're also reflecting and showing, I get what you're saying. I really understand it. So that's your question phase. Now, what you need to do after your question phase is you need to bring this back to you and to exactly what you do. Again, this is a single line. It's quite simple. My line is something like, mine is something along the lines of, okay, so what I'm hearing you're telling me is you have challenges with and where you could really do with some help is lots of durs. Would it be okay if I explain how I typically work with my clients and how I think that could help you? So you're reflecting back what they say and you say, would it be okay if I tell you how I can help? I don't think anyone has ever said no on that one. If somebody does say no at that point, to be fair, you might as well cut your losses because they're absolutely not interested. But no one's ever said no, I don't think. And now at this point, you want to explain succinctly and simply what you do and how you can help. Then you want to make a recommendation for the exact package they should buy and ask them if they want to buy. Now, that is quite a juicy chunk. So next week, we're going to talk very specifically about how to make that recommendation, how to talk about you, how to make that recommendation like an expert, and then how to actually ask for their sale. And then the final week, we're going to talk about how to follow up. So if sales is a challenge for you, if it sounds like this is something that you could really do with improving in your business, get in touch with me at tailorit.co.uk. Keep watching this series of videos, keep jumping into the comments and let me know what resonates or what more help you need. And I will see you next week for more juicy tips.